Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. So, today our topic is about food and gender, and we'll be exploring why cooking at home is often associated with women and caring, while professional cooking is more often linked to the male chef, authority, and prestige. Through this discussion, we hope to show how gender role in food culture are socially constructed and reinforced through media.
Cooking is one of most common things in normal life, so people usually never think about connect with the gender. But in many cultures, family cooking is always connected with the woman, because preparing meals for the family and caring for family members usually seem like a household. It becomes part of daily routine, so people often do not see it as a skill that deserves much recognition. In food studies, the term food work is often used to describe tasks such as planning meals, shopping for ingredients, cooking, and cleaning up after meals. So they're closely about family responsibilities, which is why they have been connected with a woman for a long time. The meaning of cooking usually changes when it's out of family. In the restaurant and the professional kitchen, cooking is not household anymore. It has become professional that need training and leadership. So in many countries, female chef and restaurant owner remain mostly male. This shows us that although women are expected to cook at home, but professional cooking is typically associated with a male chef. So the meaning of cooking changes depending on where it happens. At home, cooking is often associated with caregiving, family, and a daily responsibility. In the kitchen and in the restaurant, the same activities may be seen as professional skills. In this area, cooking will connect more knowledge, creativity, and leadership. The media will also affect people's opinion of cooking and chef. So when I watch MasterChef, I feel there is a big competition pressure on the participants. So this show make kitchen like a competition environment and push everyone to show their high-level skill and speed. And I believe cooking can be defined in different environments. It's like to connect with a woman in the normal life, but it connects with the male authority in the professional cooking culture. So this is a central question in our project. Why is cooking usually connected with a woman in the family, but become masculine when it's in the professional chef culture?
And the core theory of our research is that gender roles in food culture are socially constructed and continuously reinforced through the media, advertising, and everyday practice. First of all, we argue that food itself carries gender meaning. In Emily Contoy's Dinners, Dudes, and Diet, she explained that food is like a battleground where gender is shaped and performed. She pointed out that food activities such as cooking and dieting are the way to do gender, which means people express gender through everyday food practice. She emphasized that domestic food labor such as meal planning, grocery shopping, cooking, feeding, and cleaning is still commonly regarded as women's responsibility even today. Meanwhile, when cooking enters professional settings, it is often perceived as masculine, and that is crucial for our topic because it perfectly explains the contradiction that we're focusing on. Why home cooking is often feminized, while when it's become part of the chef culture, it will turn more like a man's job. In short, when cooking is associated with care, routine, and family responsibilities, it will often be coded as feminine. But when cooking is linked to the prestige, authority, and expertise, it is called as masculine. Furthermore, the media also plays an important role in the reinforcement of gender role in food culture. And Kanto is mentioned that media platforms such as advertising, television, magazines, and social media may repeatedly reproduce gender stereotype in food culture. Due to frequent appearance of this representation, this stereotype will gradually neutralize and become part of the gender meaning. So basically, the media does not only just reflect gender role among our society, but help to construct and normalize these stereotypes. Parkin's research about Campbell's soup advertisement further support this idea. She notes in her article that the food advertising in the 20th century has been closely tied with women, food, and love in public imagination. Advertisements present women as responsible for buying, preparing, and serving food, while cooking is framed as an expression of care for the whole family. Meanwhile, these ads did not reflect the diversity of the actual family lifestyle but continuously promote an idealized family structure, such as the woman as homemaker, with men rarely appearing in domestic content. More importantly, Parkin further highlights a crucial construct that combos advertisements always assume women should be responsible for cooking, but women were never presented as chefs. Instead, these advertisements rely heavily on male authority, using figures such as chefs and doctors to legitimize the product. This demonstrates that expertise and authority were still coded as masculine. So overall, these two articles help us build our mind's theoretical opinion that women's cooking is culturally framed as a caring domestic labor, while men's cooking tend to be framed as skill, expertise, and prestige. The media does not simply reflect these roles, it also helps produce and normalize them.
One of the most vivid examples of how the process of cooking is gendered across various content can be depicted through the representation of professional chefs on the food television. Programs such as Hell Kitchen depicted the kitchen as a competitive and hierarchical place where authority, speed, and technical skill are paramount. These programs tend to present the chef as an individual with great leadership and self-control. Such celebrity chefs include Gordon Ramsay, who is also part of this picture because he is well known to lead their teams, assess performance, and be very disciplined in the kitchen. It leads to the development of the perception of the professional kitchen as a highly stressful environment that demands stress, power, and skills. According to the study of professional kitchens, it could be noted that this type of representation ought to be seen as one of the key tendencies in the culinary sector, even though the area of cooking has traditionally been associated with females. The professions of a professional chef is now predominantly male-dominated. According to the Harris and Geoffrey, less than 20% of the chef and head cook population are female, which suggests a great gender imbalance within the professional kitchen. This difference shows the ability of the same action, or the cooking, to be viewed in different ways based on the conditions under which it occurred. Home cooking is generally considered as one of the domestic chores, and restaurant cooking is considered as a vocation requiring skills, management, and reputation. The presentation of media is another important aspect that influences these perceptions. Celebrity chefs were influential under the conditions of modern food media, which helped in the development of cultural associations related to food and competence. TV shows, cookbooks, and in the media online depict chefs not only as cooks but as lifestyle gurus and media celebrities. These depictions are likely to communicate the concept of confidence, authority, and creativity, and therefore contribute to establishing the link between professional cooking and male leadership. Simultaneously, food television has traditionally associated cooking with the domestic sphere and the family lifestyle. Ray states that in the early years of television cooking programs often depicted cooking as taking place within the home environment, which underlined its association with the regular activities of daily living. In such a domestic context, cooking is related to care, family responsibility, and everyday housework. Nevertheless, when the same action is shown in a professional kitchen or is portrayed through media images of celebrity chefs, it is turned into a well-respected profession that is acknowledged by society. The comparison of domestic cooking with the culture of the professional chefs demonstrates that food work may have significantly different meaning based on the environment in which it is carried out and by whom. The instance of professional chefs in food media thus is an appropriate example of how gendered expectations could determine the cultural worth placed on cooking.
While there is a feminine side to cooking, there is a masculine side to being a chef. This is not natural and it is certainly not inevitable. It is created and it is a product of gender stereotyping and gender inequality and the value that society places on different type of work. For instance, the culture of media and television, the culture around chefs, particularly on programs such as Hell's Kitchen and on the internet, is that a chef is a tough man, a man in control, a man who is quick and has authority in the kitchen, and the kitchen is a battleground. This is a masculine idea, and there is a feminine side to the reality of everyday cooking and food preparation that is simply part of being a woman and a homemaker. Karen and Johnston discuss how the reality is that food work is related to being a good woman, a good mother, and a good partner. It is a moral obligation and it is a form of care. Because it is a form of care, it is not a skill or a form of labor in the same way that paid work is, and so it is normal and invisible. This is a form of power, and if food preparation is natural to women, then it is legitimate to ignore the skill, the labor, and the stress that goes into food preparation. However, when it comes to restaurants, schools, and media, it changes. This is because it turns into a paid profession with status and admiration. This is also a hierarchical space. Men dominate leadership positions, such as a head chef or a celebrity chef. This indicates that it is not about having talent. It is about having access and status. Samuel and Michelle indicate a similar trend with regard to cultural texts on food and women. This is because food and stories about women can unveil patriarchy in everyday life. This indicates that women's work is seen as a duty to others. It is seen as a culture or traditional expectation, and not as a form of inequality or patriarchy. This indicates that it is not a coincidence that women's food work is a duty, while men's food work is art, leadership, and status. In conclusion, it is evident that food work by women is feminine, because it is unpaid work at home. Men's food work is masculine, because it is a paid and prestigious profession. Gender stereotypes portray food work by women as normal. Inequality of power portrays food work by men as valuable. A feminist perspective provides a framework to understand hidden work, and understands that it is not given to both parties equally.